second segment of Unit 12, we learn about in detail the 7 most important institutions of the European Union, among them the Council of the European Union, the Central European Bank, and the European Parliament, and some others.
Okay. Now we know the member states. We know them. And we also know the main goals and purposes. Now let's see what is the institutional background the European Union has built for itself to operate in an effective way. As you can see, the mostly 7 most important institutions at this place. Let's just see them each by each, and then I would like to introduce them very briefly. So, the 7 big ones, the 7 most important ones are as follows. Here we have the European Court of Justice, European Council, the Central European Bank, the European Court of Auditors, and the 3 most important ones. You can see I also used the golden frame for each, for the 3 big, which is the European Commission, the Council of the European Union, and the European Parliament. Let's see first from the 3 golden ones. The very first is the European Commission. What is this? It's an executive body of the European Union. 2 main tasks we can define of the Commission. One is the law initiation. So it means that they do not accept the laws. They only try to make the very hard work of putting it together, but then there will be 2 other bodies who have to accept it. Okay? And task 2 is just running the daily routine of the European Union. For instance, the guarding of European contracts. It is very important that the commissioners of the European Commission, stand for the United European Union, not for the sending countries. Why is it a specialty? Because, for instance, it's very different from the Council of the European Union, what we are going to deal with in the next slide, because the Council of European Union, there the members stand for their own countries. But here, you can just imagine them, these commissioners, as very high-level officers who are loyal to the Union itself, not stand for their sending countries. That's why they say that the Commission is considered to be as the engine of the European Union, as these very important guys, the commissioners, are really working for the European Union as a whole. You know? Great. There are 27 commissioners, so you can see that there is one sent from each member state. And it's also important that each commissioner is responsible for a certain professional field. It's also important that both the heads of the European Commission and all the commissioners are appointed by the Council of the European Union. But they also, themselves, who they are, they also must be approved by the European Parliament. So, each person who will be a commissioner has to be approved by both of the 2 other bodies in the institutional bodies, both the Council of the European Union and the European Parliament. Let's go on and let's see this Council of European Union. As you can see, I also can define them as the Council of the National Ministers. Okay? Actually, they are ministers from the member states. Okay? The most important work is legislative work. So they, with the help of the European Commission, I have just told you that they are initiating the laws. They, again, making these laws, and then it must be approved not only by them, but the European Parliament. Okay? So as you can see, it's both legislative function and both they have executive function. The last of the 3 golden ones is the European Parliament itself. It's got 705 representatives. It's very important to say that they are directly elected in their own home country. Okay? And of course, you might understand that each member state have different numbers of representatives according to their quota. Well, anyway, the countries are not the same size, so that's why they cannot send the same number of representatives to the parliament. I think it's quite understandable. The most important work is legislative work. So they have to vote, like a real parliament in a real country. You know, in all kind of democracy, parliament has got the right to vote for each regulations and laws. And if the parliament says no, then they will not vote for the law. So that's why the law doesn't come into the regulation system. Okay? Sometimes they decide alone like a parliament, and sometimes they decide together with the Council of Ministers. I will talk a little bit about the Council of Ministers now, and then I will just very quickly introduce you again the whole system. Let's see. The Council of Ministers, we call them European Council. That's very, very easy to understand their members, because each member state sends the Prime Minister to the European Council. So that's why you can see it's quite a high level of institutional body. All right? In most of the cases, they meet 4 times a year, but of course they have the opportunity in case there is a special or urgent issues that they meet more frequently. Okay? And finally, let me show you just that the different bodies, the different institutions, this big 7 one, that we have as most important institutions for the European Union, is the European Parliament, which is directly elected by the citizens of the European member states. So it's the same type of process than electing their own national parliaments. Okay. You also can see that with these blue arrows of mine, the European Council, the European Court of Justice, and the Council of the European Union directly send representatives from the national governments. Okay? So it's not from the citizens, not by the citizens themselves, but it's the national government who send the representatives to these 3. Okay? And you can also see the European Court of Auditors and European Commission. Of course, that the workers, the officers of these legislative bodies are also sent by the different member states, okay? But they have to be approved by the Council of the European Union, okay? So, of course, the Prime Minister goes to the European Council, but it's not only the Prime Minister's decision who to send, for instance, to the European Commission as a commissioner, okay? Well, you can see the big 7, all right? But you can also see that this big golden 3, that's the most important part of that. After the introduction, the short introduction of the institutional background, as an end of my material, let's go back to the original values and goals. So you remember that Unit 9, we try to introduce you from the historical point of view, which are the main values that makes European value system, or that makes that why Europe is Europe and what the Europeans thinks about their being European. But as an end of that, because now we are talking about the Union itself as an institution, let's try to turn our attention to those 4 emphasized areas which the European Union fixed for itself as strategic schedule. 4 main areas are defined: defending citizens and human rights, the strong economy, the green, fair and social Europe and the encouraging European values on a global level. Let's see the first. Defending citizens and human rights. Defending citizens means that European Union as an institution wants all its citizens, means all the citizens of all the member states, to live on a very safe way. And this is something that I tried to tell a little bit to you about the so-called Schengen area. What is the Schengen area? Schengen area means that all the member states' citizens can walk, can travel, can move freely within the European area, the Schengen area, but the outside borders are guarded well to ensure the safety for the citizens. Also in this point, there is a focus on human rights. Again, not only for this and that member states, but for all the member states and all the citizens, European Union wishes to assure the basic human rights of choosing freely in whatever affects their lives. There is a lot that I can talk about it. And of course, you will hear a lot of policies regarding that. But human rights can be mentioned as a common focus of all these questions. The second is strong economy. It again means that, number one, European Union as a unity can be well represented as an economic power in the big global markets. That's issue number one. But the same very important issue here is that all the member states can have nice development, economic development, so that all the citizens can live also on a safe way from the point of view of economic safety. Okay? So that whatever a human being is need to live on a safe way, it could be assured for them. The third is the green, fair and social Europe. Let's start with the green. Of course, it's for the environment protection. These are global issues. Still, European Union wishes to say that both as a unity itself, both as all the member states, they are all for the environment protection so that there could be sustainable development for the whole world, and the Union can be a very fair contributor to these kind of goals. Social Europe. Social Europe, that means that also within European economy, also all over the world, of course, there are very high social problems as well. Let me mention of the social differences and the very high differences among the income levels of the countries or of the citizens. Of course, citizens and countries in low level of economic power can have very high level of problems. So the social Europe means that both inside European Union, both among the member states and both outside, as looking out to the global world, they try to represent their social values, to support the weak who are in need of help. And the last one, encouraging the European values on a global level. Well, I think that from now we can agree that even though we could define European values, it could be seen clearly that these are not only European values, but these are global values and also values from very, very important non-Western cultures as well. So maybe the final sentence to stop this course is that these are values not only important for the Union, but I think it's important for all the citizens globally. Thank you very much for your attention.